Hello everyone, welcome to the next video in architectural concepts, and today we are going to understand what are the requirements for the ideal architecture. Okay, well, it doesn't matter whether you are in Azure or AWS or be it any cloud or maybe on premises or maybe IT or society, it doesn't matter. These things applicable for all kind of architectures. Okay, so in order to save some time, I've already created these mind maps. This will help us to go through all the requirements one by one. So before I start, in an ideal architecture, we would build the most secure, high performance, highly available and efficient environment possible. Okay, but if we are going for the ideal architecture, considering all these four pillars, we need to understand there is a cost involved for each of these requirements. Okay, and cost is something that a solution architect must be in consideration of all the time. Okay, so every organization have different priorities that will impact the design choices. Okay, there are organizations like banking, e-commerce, medical, or security things, security services, those kind of things. They would be more focused on highly secure, and where the availability is most certain, along with the security, like your airport where the plane is flying and all the things are involved, your ships or oiling and those kind of things. So every organization will have different priorities, and those priorities would impact the design. But here we are talking about the ideal architecture. Well, as per the requirement of the customer, the things would change. But for an ideal architecture, we need to consider these 4 points all the time. Okay, let's try to understand these points one by one. The very first is security. Well, we all know security is very important for everyone. So is for the cloud. It is not like if you are in the cloud now, you need not to worry about anything. You are in the cloud. It is not like that. In cloud, we have the shared responsibility for the security. So in order to understand that better, we can divide it into security of the cloud and security in the cloud. Okay. Well, security of the cloud means all the data centers which has been created by Microsoft or Amazon, security of those physical locations, security of their electricity, internet, and cooling system, and all kind of that security is security of the cloud. That is the responsibility of the cloud owner. For example, if it is Azure, then it's the responsibility of Microsoft. If it is AWS, it is the responsibility of Amazon. Now here comes your responsibility, the one who is creating the infrastructure inside the cloud. Okay, that means security in the cloud. What do you create inside the cloud? You create your VM, you create your databases, you create your virtual network. So security of your data, security of your VM, security of your credentials, security of all kind of infrastructure that have you created inside the cloud is your responsibility. Okay, there are various tools that you can utilize to secure your infrastructure. Security Center is one of them, provided in Microsoft, which is one of the best tool. Okay, that could help you to figure out the vulnerabilities. They do provide the DDoS. Basic DDoS is already there with the virtual network. You can also go for standard. To for your application vulnerabilities, you do have WAF. We do have WAF inside the app gateway of Azure, but you can also go for the third-party WAF. Right? For your virtual VMs, we do have the extensions for different kind of malware and antiviruses, phishing attack, exposed credential attack, network attacks, the different kind of attacks. So you need to secure your infrastructure from all those. Okay, so that's why the security. Well, we'll touch each one of these points in detail in later videos, but today we are just going through what would be the best ideal architecture. Okay, so that's all about security. Now let's talk about performance and scalability. Well, as I have marked here, it's resource capacity to demand. Well, if you're moving to the cloud and you're paying a lot of money, doesn't make sense. But if you're in the cloud and your machine's infrastructure is not performing, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to create the infrastructure which is highly performant, and if required it would scale out and scale in as per the demand, right? So for an architecture to perform well and be scalable, it should properly match resource capacity to demand. Okay, makes sense? Wonderful. Now let's talk about availability and recoverability. Prior to that, I don't know whether I've mentioned this in performance and scalability or not, because if you're in the cloud and you're you're using a highly compute VM and you do not require your application, your demand of request is not that much, you should create your infrastructure so that they can scale in as well, and if required scale out as well, to save the money and save the request or users. If it is scaling in, of course it is saving money, and it is scaling out, it is saving your users, it is saving your request. Cool. Now let's talk about availability and recoverability. Well, this is something which is a nightmare for any architect. If they design something and their design couldn't recover, that is a nightmare for any architect. Okay, so a successful cloud environment is designed in a way that anticipates failures at all levels. Okay, part of anticipating these failures is designing a system that can recover from the failure within the time required by your customer. Okay, now here recoverability would consider, once the things are down, whether they can recover or not, like the backup thing, your disaster recovery thing, those kind of. Okay, and availability is if something hits your VM but the other VM can take care of the request. We have already covered HA, DR, and FT in the previous videos of architectural concepts. If you want to refresh your memory, you can go and watch those. You would make difference of these two things. Okay, now last but not the least, efficiency and operations. Okay, so if you are in the cloud and your environment is your infrastructure is not highly efficient, you're just wasting your money, you're wasting your time. The benefit of cloud is there are so many things available, tools available that can help you understand whether you're wasting your money or you're actually utilizing your money. Okay, so it should be cost effective, and we should have a good monitoring design, right? Because we don't want our customers calling back and saying there is a failure. If there is a good monitoring design in place, we would have those information prior to the customer, and before customer come to know, we would fix it. Okay, and it should be cost effective. If something is not in use, get rid of that thing. For example, in Azure, everything is a resource. You have operations to perform. You may need a public IP, or you may not need after 7 days, but it's still there. You can remove it. You have the spare disk. Okay, you have a big size VM going on. You can decrease the size. There are things like that, and there is a tool in the Azure which can help you figure that out. Okay, cool. So these are the four things that can help you create an ideal architecture as per the customer requirement. It is not like you have to put everything for the security, for the scalability. It all depends the kind of design your customer is looking for, but these are the things that you consider before creating a design. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. You have a good day. Bye bye.